Hey, everybody.
Shut up, I'm not done.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
everybody.
Right off the top. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Just like that. Comes out swinging.
Just
Setting the tone.
Hey, everybody, we're back for one last intro from me as we are closing out Pirates of the Lost Fleet, Tales from the Table, and the flame is being passed over to Gavin. Back where it belonged.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, no, you killed it. I have
You did
a few
amazing.
questions.
I'm excited.
I wrote them down, but I think you did a great job.
Oh,
especially-
thanks.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but this was your first campaign that you've run end to end, right?
Yeah. So I had
just
one I
killed
started
it.
before, and then just scheduling, the bane of D&D. So we did 4 sessions. So I have that story on the back burner one day.
Nice.
But yeah, this was my first campaign I got to finish, which was really fun and stressful.
I thought it was fantastic. Some of the characters,
Thanks.
and that's in my questions, I hated so much.
So viscerally.
I would get home and I was just
Foul,
like
right?
angry.
You mean player characters? Or
Are you talking about me? Fuck, I did the best I could that time.
I
It's
thought you
getting
did
better,
great.
Dwayne. It's getting better.
Doing my best.
I feel like you may have just made up the draconic thing though.
No, that was legit. I looked it up. We did a translator.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hey,
Dwayne-
hey, guess what? I'm back.
Dwayne
this
and I
week.
were taking-
This week,
Dwayne's
I'm back.
here.
I'm back this week. I'm feeling better. I don't know.
That's
I'm back.
beautiful.
I know, right?
Anyway, what was the question?
Yeah, what was the question?
What are we doing?
Oh, we're doing
are we doing?
Tales from the Table, I
yeah,
thought.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
wrapping up Pirates of the Lost Fleet.
Lost Fleet.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the last Tales from the Table we did was, I think, like after episode 9. So 10, 11, 12, 3.
Yeah. Which was basically like when everything came to a head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was
At the
great.
end.
Yeah.
Cliff jumping and
There was dolphins. There was
and
cliff
whales
jumping. Yeah.
and,
The clip was whales.
That was-
and vampires and manticores.
I was so pissed that I missed that episode.
That was
So did you
that was so
always
good.
have vampires written into the storyline then? Or?
No.
Oh, really?
We influenced it, Russ. We influenced it.
I definitely am like the type of DM who will have this idea of what's going to happen, and then something comes in, and I'm like, oh, that's happening. Guess that we're going to put that in.
Russ wants vampires.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to give him
And then she
some
gave me vampires, and I didn't even notice any of them. So- was it me or was it Darwin? The lines blurred at some point on my intelligence and Darwin's intelligence.
And essentially, Anna was going to be a vampire from like
And Darvin
session
won.
5. I'm going to say, like,
Oh, really?
Session 5.
Oh,
That's why she started having hints like, one of them was like she
wore
when-
the sunglasses at night.
she wouldn't go inside. She was standing outside looking at the tree.
Right.
And then and then you were like, come on, it's just a tree. And she's like, oh, sorry, just waiting for the invite.
It would actually be interesting to go back and like re-listen to the whole series and see if you like catch more clues along the way.
Oh, no, I have. I'm really dumb.
Come on. I think I take the cake.
No, yeah, you're dumber than me, but
Iron
Thank
Quill.
Wait a second. There's a similarity there. I just can't put my finger on it.
sisters?
Yeah, what the heck?
Oh, so bad.
Good. I got a question. Just how much of the campaign did you have mapped out when you did the one shot? Like, did you have like a general idea for what was going to happen?
I knew that so I didn't anticipate that you would go along with her until the end when your characters decided to go, and I was like, that's sweet. My idea was to just introduce a big bad evil that maybe was a little bit more empathetic than you're just a pirate at sea, and then you decided to go with her, and I was like, oh, cool, all right, sounds good. So for the actual campaign, I had what you were up against, what you would think you were up against, which is just a pirate, and then I had sort of like the main players and everything. And then there was such a funny response to Archie. I was like, well, he's coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, a few other little pieces. And I knew Veritin would be the king by the time you got there. Assuming everything came to light. Because if it didn't, then instead what you'd be dealing with was pretty much the same, but with a corrupt queen from before. So yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this to clarify, this was that one shot. I don't think we recorded it, did we?
This
Yeah,
is-
we did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
this is the one with the
Valkyr's-
boats as well.
Yeah,
This-
yeah.
Yeah.
And, like,
Valkyr's dungeon.
fuck off. Valkyr's. Oh, yeah, yeah. And then we went to
and
rescue
Viper of
Viper.
Fathomhold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
that
Russ's
was,
character
um,
went 500 feet straight up somewhere using Dimension Door.
Yeah. Russ's character dimension doored out. Dwayne's character Harry
crawling on the roof?
smashed into the roof at
Yeah, it's all
terminal
coming back.
velocity.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. Yeah, that was good.
That's
So,
great.
so like, did you know that Sue was going to sleep with the iron
No.
ladle way
No.
back then? Because I didn't even know.
No.
I was just like,
That's the
No.
That's for the
mem-
sequel.
Get out of my head.
Did not know that. That was fun.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Sue was the one I had the hardest time getting a grasp on in the early days because I'm used to you being chaos, Dwayne, lovingly.
What?
I'm used to you being chaos.
No, really?
And then Sue, the time that I realized that I was misjudging what Sue was looking for was with Lyria when he was like very empathetic, but like also he like pulls her to the side and is like, I don't believe you, you're up to something. But he lets it go and he was pretty kind. He was kind of like counselor Dwayne mode. And I was like, I don't have a grasp on Sue at all. And I reached out to Briar and I was like, help me. I know you've DM'd for Dwayne, please help. And they were really helpful there. So it was good.
Cool.
I love that she didn't message me that you've DM'd for Dwayne.
Well, I couldn't.
I know. I'm so joking.
6 months, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
I still don't understand Dwayne.
Yeah.
I have a
Yes,
question.
Russ.
I put my hand up for my
It
question.
was so polite.
That's very good.
You in the back.
I just don't want to get in trouble with teacher. That was
Who's-
a,
wait,
that was a
who's the
little that
teacher?
was a little funny joke for Chelsea.
Yeah, thanks.
Was Thal always going to be a daughter figure for Darwin, or did that happen naturally?
No, so I actually got I don't remember, it was either Matt Mercer or Brendan Lee Mulligan were doing an interview around NPCs and stuff, and I just saw this clip and they said essentially I throw a whole bunch of stuff and I wait to see who the players adopt. So that was the thing with the cast, and you guys sort of had people assigned to you that were where you would be maybe more likely to hang out with. But
Right.
from there, I just wanted to see where you went with that.
So
And
who
then-
was Darwin's person that was assigned?
That was Thal. So
Oh,
it
it was.
actually
Okay.
actually went well. Yeah. So Darwin's person. So you had Thal, who was your sort of was the swab, but also
Yeah.
kind of assigned to you, and then Finnan was assigned to Eldrick and
Who?
Tea Leaf, right? But yeah,
Like we sent him in for potatoes like once.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, he didn't stick around, or he did, but like not in the same way, right? And then Gilda kind of ended up going in with Zarek because Zarek made sense when Eldrick was away, right? And yeah, and so
And I guess Anna never existed, right? It's just because I saw her in the bar.
you literally were like, "Do I see a hot chick?" And I was like, "Yeah, you see a hot chick."
Can I
for
do a
sure.
cartwheel?
Well, and then you were like, "What's her name?" And I was like, "Anna."
It worked.
Yeah, there's 2 Jessas accidentally in the game.
Whoa.
I thought it was the same one.
Did you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Thal's mom was a Jessa.
Oh.
Yeah, I accidentally did that, and I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah.
I mean, it's
what are you gonna
hard.
do?
They can have similar names.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
it
gonna
actually segues into my question, the related to the NPCs. Mine was, what was your favorite and least favorite NPCs to play?
My favorite was probably Archie
Oh,
because
I
you
hate
guys
Archie.
hated him
Obviously.
so much.
I knew you were going to say that. I didn't want to ask.
I sometimes don't know why
loved
we
him.
hated him so much.
I don't know. I just fucking hated him.
But that was
interaction with him.
that was fun because I also like Chelsea in Day to Day isn't like punchy like that, so it was kind of fun
Right,
to be
right.
punchy like that.
Yeah, of course.
And then Thal was really fun too because she was like a delight. Zarek was probably the most challenging, I'm gonna say, and Harry was the most challenging too because
Yeah, a hard player to play. For
Dwayne's
sure.
a hard man to imitate. But yeah, no, I'd probably say Zarek was hard because he didn't have a voice. And I wanted to give him a personality. But then Sue kind of adopted him as a somewhat rival or like a friendly rivalry, and that made it easier to give him a personality.
Right.
But he was tricky at first, for sure.
Who's Harry?
Yeah, who was
Nori.
Harry? Oh. Who's Nori? Oh, in the shop.
Nori's Nook, yeah.
Yeah.
The town was filled with pirates.
Right.
Yeah, with like the spies and stuff. But yeah, he was tricky. All I had to describe him with was a comb over. And even that only came in the second one shot when Dwayne was like, he's essentially the same, but now he has a comb over. I was like, cool, awesome. It's a great description. Yeah.
It was really giving you lots of work. With
It was
that.
awesome. It was really good. Yeah, it was solid.
For me, it was my first full campaign.
Oh.
Yay.
Right?
Wow.
'Cause I'm
Yeah,
pretty-
you've only been playing for 2.5 weeks.
Still to this day.
Because your first day playing with us was Valkyr's Dungeon.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I played Todd, who I got the IP rights back to after our
Yes.
negotiation.
Well, and we figured it out too, which
Yeah, we
worked
figured
well.
it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I think in a way that kind of works for that.
Probably better.
Probably better. Yeah, for sure.
But yes, that was my first campaign, so it was really interesting after doing a couple of one shots here and there, just to like actually
try to, as a person with ADHD, to try to pay attention for more than a couple of episodes, you know? So I think you kept things bright and shiny enough, and I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean?
Really
Like, you kept enough sparkles around for me to be like, oh, okay, I'm into this.
Yeah.
You know?
A ship to attack. Some jerky to buy. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Something to jump out of.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, look, there's Anna again.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I was making my own shinies as well, I guess.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it was fun having Warbles join partway through too, because I was a little worried, like, was I going to be able to have him like integrated well enough that he'd feel like part of the crew and like you'd be happy with where he went?
Yeah, no, it was incredibly satisfying. It was definitely, it's the first time I've ever joined in the middle of a campaign as well. And that first, like I went back and I listened to Valkyr's Dungeon, which is probably why I got a lot of the hints early on, because it was the freshest in my mind, because I wasn't there for those sessions. And then I purposely didn't listen to anything that to do with the actual campaign beforehand. So I was like Warbles, incredibly disoriented as to why we were where we were and what it was that we were doing.
Nice.
But yeah, it was great. Did an awesome job integrating him. And like
Okay.
even like the last minute, just like additions into his backstory and the little breadcrumbs. And he got it was probably the first time I've had like an emotional connection to a character wrap up that was like that. Like I finished up, I was like, oh, I'm feeling things.
Stop.
You messaged me maybe a week ago about Warbles again, and I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah,
he lives.
I definitely have plans for Warbles for the future, and I'm very excited for them.
Ooh, backstory?
That's awesome. I got
Sequel?
I got to tell you, like when Warbles, like when you
Warbles
would
in
do
space.
stuff, like the sound effects that would come out of
Oh.
So good.
Oh, there was one time where you were like, he runs across, and there was something about I almost spewed my drink. It was so funny.
so good.
Jiggling all the way.
Yeah.
It was so great.
And then his badonk on his little mini.
Oh, that was so
Iconic.
iconic and informative. And I'm sorry, Tash, that I didn't give you Warbles for your display, but I needed to have Warbles because he sits next to my desk while I work and makes me think it's all okay.
I feel like he's facing the wall,
It's
though.
not.
And I have to tell you as well, from like an artistic point, like with Warble's character and just like everybody's character, I know I did that cartoon drawing of you guys. This is the most easily animated show you could possibly make.
Yeah.
Because everybody's such a good individual character.
Yeah.
Like Netflix, if you're listening,
They're listening.
we want a show.
Oh, for sure.
We want a show, because if you honestly, that would be the show. Like it'd be so, because I don't know how this one's going to go as far as comedy goes, but there's such good like comedy just between each character already,
yeah.
even just the way they look and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be
was
easy to
fun.
make it into a cool, fun like cartoon.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to laugh for the next campaign.
No.
I'm not laughing at this one.
Yeah,
No.
it's
I'm a
that's it.
piece of shit for this one.
Great. We're all just bad people. No one will empathize with us.
Wayne can't laugh.
I got a question for like the rest of the table for the other players. Were there any huge changes between your character concept and then once you started playing them, like when they were out there in the world? Were there any big pivots?
Surprisingly for Morrow, no. And I do feel like I do pivot over time, but I feel like he was backstory as written, you know? It's like, I feel like obviously to begin with, you have trouble finding their voice and their subtle mannerisms. You know how they should act, but once I kind of settled into Morrow, then I was like, okay, I got it, which is rare, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've done different for all my other characters.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I made it kind of the same.
Yeah.
Mara was such a weirdly empathetic asshole. Like he would do these like absolutely awful things, and then the next moment you'd be like, "Aw,
He's so sensitive.
yeah."
I think that's part of, or maybe what I'm finding with these like shorter campaigns, although we've never really done super long ones, is that it takes like 3 or 4 episodes to like kind of get settled into your character.
Yeah.
And then you start figuring them out, and then a couple things happen, and then by the time you're like really up to speed, it's like, oh, it's almost over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice to do a longer one sometime, like twice the length or something, just to get more into the characters, you know?
I do like the idea that we're beginning to settle on, which is having, like, as far as like conceptually with the podcast and like from someone who runs the games, like having those 12 episode arcs for like a narrative, and then putting a couple more in between, and then potentially doing like a season 2 and making the sequel when the story is fleshed out.
Right.
Because I find a lot of times with like a lot of TTRPG podcasts, like the second season, just for a lot of them just doesn't strike the same. And it's because like that, it's kind of like a music where you spend your entire life making your first album and then 6 months on your second one.
Right.
And it's that same, like I like the gestating component, and then it's really nice for the DMs as well. Like you can chew on ideas and you don't go for that first idea. You kind of ditch that and you go for the second or third, which is usually the more interesting.
A really good point.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a really good point, because that's sort of inadvertently happened with Underworld. We were supposed to start it, then Chelsea was nice enough to start her campaign, and then Sean did like his little short shot, and it just bought me more time to like let ideas percolate. And there would literally be moments in the shower where I'd be like, oh my god, I gotta go grab my phone and write this down.
Yeah.
You know.
He's having a posh wank.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that like, let's call it like the 12 to 14 episodes sort of like stretch is good because one, it keeps people interested, right? Like if it goes on forever, it just feels like you start losing the plot. So being able to see a rough end goal is nice, but as a DM, it's nice having that break, not only to play, but also to let it sink in and be like, okay, now where do I go? So when you do come back, you're like, fuck, I am pumped for this.
Yeah.
I'd say as well for me, like on the 12 to 14 right now, when you're saying that, I'm actually now glad it's only 12 to 14 because I'm a new DM.
Totally.
And I've got to do a campaign next.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be like shitting my pants because like if I had to do like a fucking whole year or something, I don't know what the hell I would do.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things too is like we've got essentially part 2 of Pirates of the Lost Fleet in the winter, and you're gonna have the option if you want to bring back old characters or play all new ones. And like as we get closer, right, you'll have that. I'll tell you more about it so you can understand why. And it's gonna go to level 20, so we're much higher level. Just because I've never done that, and I think that sounds like a lot of fun, right?
Second campaign, level 20. Holy fuck!
shit.
Yeah, so it's going to probably be like level 14 to 20 or whatever.
I have to play tomorrow.
So it would be like in the future a chunk. 5 years, 10 years?
It's a little bit in the future. And that was part of the thing, too, is that, like, I had this idea that there is this great evil that, Thadia and her crew are facing, and they're trying to do it alone, and it's not working. And I was going to try and get the now spoiler, obviously, but the Lich in there. And I was like, there's a couple of things going on. One, you guys weren't epic enough to take on a Lich. And two was there just wasn't enough time. Yeah, but for that level Lich, right, you guys were level 10, 12s, right?
For the next season, can I be the Manticore as my character?
Can I be the mop?
Yeah, absolutely. You're actually the bone sword.
The bone sword comes swimming to the sword.
Has risen.
I wanted to answer Sean's question quickly because I didn't think we all did that. But for Darwin's character, absolutely the same all the way through until me and you riffed off each other and you pulled the rock out of my head. And I'd just like to say for canon, Darwin got his backstory wrong. He thinks his backstory is one thing. He's actually a nobleman from a very wealthy family.
I love this.
But he has a head injury. So he's actually super intelligent. But if you remember, he pulled a bit of rock out of my head and I started being like, where am I? Like I started like having this like really posh accent.
That also clears that I'm going to be very careful how I say so we don't give too many spoilers away. Russ reached out and was like, hey, so this is what I was thinking around this world. And I was like, ooh, Chris, this is Chris's world we were playing in, and the map's already built essentially. There's no place for that. And then we realized if we weren't careful down the line, going to start tripping over each other. So how can we carefully separate the Dreyer Valley out of this?
Absolutely.
So it actually works really well. Yours being a nobleman who's like created this backstory for himself, right?
The Dreyer Valley exists in just other planes.
Yeah,
I guess,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And maybe he's like tapped into it by having this head injury.
Yeah.
He's ascendant.
He's actually extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
So and I think it was just a really good riff that me and you had.
That was a really fun little moment, and there's a part of me that almost wonders whether or not you should just respec Darwin, just re-roll him as a noble, with like really high intelligence. He's like a wizard.
It makes sense why he's not a very good barbarian.
Totally. It's totally canon at this point.
He's like, I know I'm a barbarian.
I know my purpose.
0 constitution.
It's either I want to be Darwin or I don't want to spoil who I want to be, but it's either going to be Darwin or I'm going to be somebody else. But I think me and you kind of talked about it.
And
I think the other one would be fun as well.
Yeah, they're both cool.
Yeah.
No, it's not Archie. Archie belongs to me. He's dear in my heart, even if he's no longer dear in anyone else's.
Opening scene, season 2, Archie's funeral. Right?
I'm just going to be the Iron Ladle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you, Sue? Sue? How about you, Dwayne? Do you feel Sue changed from how you picture?
I try not to
him
feel
being-
Sue.
How Sue do you feel?
How Sue do you feel?
I
No.
feel pretty Sue.
See, that's a t-shirt too.
I guess the thing, like for me, it takes a while for my characters to warm up, right? And sort
Yeah.
of just to kind of like, I need a backdrop for them. And so when I'm interacting with other characters and the NPCs and the people around the table, kind of he takes form as we go, right? And so and so like even when we were up against I think it was oh god, what was her name? It was Eldrick's god at the when we were having the conversation,
Oh, Grim?
and she was saying, well, I need a virgin to right, and Sue takes a step back.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't until that moment that Sue became
Right.
a virgin.
Totally.
That wasn't
Yeah,
written
yeah.
into the backstory.
No, right. And so part of that is just recognizing like when I get those
Yeah.
like when I get those little pieces of gold or whatever, that it's just
Ad-libbing.
like, oh man, fuck, those are just, you know,
Totally.
they start to define the story for me.
Yeah.
And my character starts to come to life, right?
It's kind of my
So-
favorite part, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The improv of it.
And I think
Yeah.
that's something that's so good for me to know, like going into my next campaign with you guys too, is like there are some people who like present a backstory and I'm like, okay, I can see an arc here. And with you, Dwayne, it's much more like, okay, let's both feel out this character, see where we go with it, and then
Yeah. So like, I remember early on, like trying to like, you know, kind of gel with Gilda or whatever. And it was just like, this is kind of like, you know, like the subordinate thing. And then I was just like, well, does he really like, is that who he is?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, not really. So we tried to introduce her into, you know, different, like, oh, why don't we do this together?
Yeah.
And then as things started to progress, like, so he's inviting her to like, you know, the
Totally.
fusion of hot and cold kind of,
Yeah.
you know, so it gives me something to like, gives me Play-Doh to play with, right?
Totally,
And so-
exactly.
And I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to do that when I'm designing characters
Yeah.
on a one-dimensional sheet.
and I love that. That's awesome.
So anyway.
Cool.
I know we're pushing time, but I had one last question I want to ask. I had a
Yes.
bunch more, but we can skip them. A lot of them got answered.
We could
anyway.
do quick fire.
Lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round. I'm
Okay,
ready.
Okay.
Six inches.
There's two main ones. I think we covered the other ones.
What?
Is that
Leads to the left.
Oh, wait. I'll wait for the question.
I feel like Morrow made it no secret that he didn't like Archie,
Mm-hmm.
and there was multiple times where Morrow was actually going to try to kill him. He didn't, obviously. What would have happened? Like, I know Archie would have put up a fight, but
Yeah.
let's say like I rolled natural 20s and he had to die. How were you going to handle that? Like, how
I was gonna let him die. I would
were
have let
gonna?
him die.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm one of those people. I don't purposely want to kill your players. Ideally, like, you know, if you want to kill my NPCs, I want to give you that room to do so. I'm not a DM that wants to shoehorn you.
Yeah.
I would have let it happen. You would have had some pretty good
It would have
flack
been-
from
yeah.
Thadia and her crew, though, because that was one of her
yeah.
And
people,
from
right?
Thal. Like,
And-
Thal would have been heartbroken.
Oh, yeah.
Val would have been devastated. Yeah, whether or not they end up still together down the line, like I'm still working that through in my head. But at the time, she was pretty smitten. Yeah.
Can the opening scene of the next season be at their wedding?
I've actually already got the first session probably mostly written out.
Nice.
I had some pretty good inspiration about maybe 2 sessions from the end, and I would just sat down and typed it out. But
Nice.
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, rapid fire. I'm ready.
And we actually did answer all of them except for
Oh.
one. The last was I'm just reading it here. Oh, this. So I'm just gonna read it out so I don't have to think. This was your first time DMing a campaign, which we covered. But the question is, how do you think it went? What did you learn? What went well, and what would you do differently? And I think it's just like an important one for
Yeah.
people listening that often play, but they're like, I think I could DM. And I love like dropping these little moments of like DM stuff you've learned, especially when you're totally new.
Yeah.
Because then it's
Right.
like, it's really raw. You know, if someone were to ask me now, I'd be like, it's like, I've learned so much over the years, right? But
Totally.
it's like fresh for you.
Give us the nugs.
Yeah, for me, something I did early on that I really enjoyed, but felt that then ditched it and then regretted later was I really love those very narrative transitions. So you coming into Saya when you were leaving and entering Sargasso, I love typing all that out and like reading it very much as a narrative. And then I was like, you know, the real DMs, the good ones, they've got it all in their head. They're not reading it off. And then towards the end, I was like, I feel like my transitions aren't as narrative. It's not as, so my last session, I had like the written out end of Thadia, obviously completely winging it for your guys' backgrounds or your guys' epilogues, because I didn't know where we were going to go with it. But I was so much happier writing in those transition points. And then I was watching, because I watch all the big DMs, right? And I was watching Matt Mercer and I was like, damn, his eyes are glued to a screen right now. And I was like, oh, he's reading them too. He's just better at it. And often I'm crafting or painting minis. So I can hear
While you're
him.
DMing?
No. While I'm watching it on
That's
the
intelligent. Jesus.
No, I mean, like when I'm watching him, and I didn't realize how much he is reading as well. So I would say something that I'm sad I stopped doing that I really enjoyed was those more narrative transitions. So I'm going to go back to doing that.
Right.
Yeah, just to jump in there real quick, a fun fact, I enjoyed those so much, and I did notice when you stopped, not in a bad way, but I noticed when you brought them back. Bringed them back, and I've actually integrated them in Underworld. Normally I don't. So a lot of my transition scenes now have written narratives for me to read from.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you influenced me.
That's
Very good.
lovely.
You get some audio porn from Gav now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
speaking of
Over
audio
to
porn.
you.
Mine's shaped like a snow shovel.
What?
Oh, what was the question?
Cool.
Yeah,
What
I
shape
don't
is
know.
your snow
I
shovel?
I lost track. I lost the plot a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to get into Underworld, so I guess that's a wrap on Parts of the Lost Fleet.
That's
Just one
a
last
wrap.
time. Thank you.
That was
That was
amazing.
amazing. I had a lot of fun.
Aw,
It was a
thanks
great
for
crew
living
to
in my
play
world
with,
for
too.
12
So
weeks.
Are you getting a pirate ship tattooed?
Oh, I probably should.
100%.
Yeah.
At least something piratey.
The scurvy
Get
lady.
Ryder to draw you one.
An anchor with like mom on your. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
It's
dope.
going to say Iron Ladle.
Oh, just get a big
Archie.
viper on
Archie.
your
Actually, going to get a big Viper chest piece. Yeah.
There we go.
Awesome. Yeah.
Underworld.
And then
we're
we
heading
kick
in.
up, we're heading into Underworld.
getting
It's
to
been
Gavin's
a long
Underworld.
time
What's that
coming.
going to be like?
Stinky underworld.
check out the next
underwear.
episode because we're
Yeah,
about to
we're
talk
about
about
to
it in
find
there.
out.
So I don't know if I want to drop a bunch of
No.
knowledge in here. You're gonna have to go.
Yum, yum,
You're
yum.
gonna have to go like
Yeah.
next episode.
Next
Next
Spotify.
episode.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Or previous, depending on when we.
No, we
We'll
have
have
to
to
drop
drop
some
this first.
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
this one
Yeah.
because that'd be really confusing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Well, let's call it a wrap, and
Thanks,
we'll
Chelsea.
we'll see you
Thanks,
start
everybody.
Underworld.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Chelsea.
everybody.
See you next time.